On today's episode of Watch JR Go, the garage is much cleaner, and we're going to try to get a bunch of work done on the R8. What is going on, guys? I am Watch JR Go, and today we are here in my garage, which is much cleaner. As I was saying, the other engine stand's folded up. We've got a lot of room where we can hopefully put a transmission on an engine, and Josh is rolling in.
What's up?
We have a nice workspace and a bunch of parts. That's basically what it comes down to. And right here, we have a box I've been waiting on for a minute. This is from my buddy Brian. Yeah, I'm trying to like this odd feeling box at Prime Cuts Chop Shop. And Prime Cuts is I should keep cutting that tape, huh? Tape's me in.
Super tape.
Yeah, super tape. Prime Cuts is a salvage yard that deals with supercars, mostly exotic. And I was hanging out with him at 2K, and he's like, "You working on the R8?" And I'm like, "Yeah, one thing I don't want to do is buy a new AC compressor because, you know, they're $1,300. That's without the shaft, I think." And he was like, "Send me your address. I'll send you an AC compressor." So this is an AC compressor out of a 236 mile brand new, like somebody bought it and wrecked it right then, Lamborghini Huracan Performante. And it appears it's exactly the same. So we're doing this based on our guesstimation. I don't know, man, that looks about perfect. Bolt holes line up, outputs line up. That's a new bolt right here, that black one on top.
Yeah.
Everything else looks close.
Body size might look a little bit bigger.
Is it?
Maybe. I don't know, man.
That it spins on the shaft there. I don't know.
Do the holes line up?
The holes do appear to line up. This one's 10 years newer.
It looks like the same connections for the hoses.
It does, and it looks like the 2-pin connector for the clutch is the same.
All right.
Well, we're gonna go ahead and bolt this on and see if it works. We were both guessing. He looked at a picture, I looked at a picture, and we were like, should work. So, as long as it bolts up and the shafts swap over, this is the Huracan bolt. It's of course for the V10, it's quite a bit longer. We'll just unscrew these jam nuts, and as long as everything works. Oh, it's much shorter from the ours. And we already have the seal, the oil seal there is already on our engine. We moved it over, so, we think it's gonna work. 2019 Lamborghini Huracan Audi R8 AC compressor. Color blue. Sweet. Well, hopefully that works. Also, it's Brian's birthday. Huge thank you to him. Go hit the link in the description below. Check out their social media pages. And if you need exotic parts, hit them up. They've got a ton. All right, we've got the new engine hooked back up here. It's time to do a little bit of lifting. We'll control this as it lifts. The first lift with everything on it. Seems like we're doing okay so far. This engine hoist is hilarious with this.
Like when it goes down and it does like a didgeridoo.
It's so good. We're gonna go put this on our engine stand over there, and that should allow us to stick the transmission on, flywheel on, oil pump, and AC compressor. Engine moving. Here on that one. I was gonna try to kick it over. Okay, there you go. Up a little bit more. Looks like I need a couple centimeters, maybe 2 or 3 pumps.
You gotta stop, man. All the innuendos. Comments are gonna be on fire.
We have the height. Okay, we're gonna delete all that. Coming down. Okay.
I'm gonna have to come back my direction a little bit.
I was trying to hook it right there. All right, we might keep the load on the engine hoist, huh?
Safety third.
Safety third, typically, yes. Okay. Look at the balance on this engine.
What is it, $1,500 hanging there? That's not bad.
That was not a big deal, just another LS engine.
Tool, alignment tool.
I have the universal clutch alignment tool that the Car Ninja so graciously provided us. It's that black box beside the Mac Tools box. Here we have $150 in bolts. So I hope that clutch tool does what we need. Untested at this point. Okay, so this only goes on one way. It's not that way. It is that way. All right, well, let's try to pick up a bolt and see what happens.
Okay.
We'll just start a couple of them. I should put my gloves on first. I'm now covered in clutch dust.
No going back now.
You just have to do it today. No, I'm gonna go put my gloves on. Okay, these all fit exactly. We had it right the first try. The mark is actually the mark. Isn't that clutch tool pretty cool?
It is.
It's got everything. So the AC compressor is a two-man job here, which is pretty wild. One person has to like hold it and start one bolt, and you have to kind of twist it into position to go around this water line. There's no wonder this is engine out to do the AC compressor.
While you thread in the drive shaft?
Yeah, and the drive shaft had to go in at about the same time. Physically, it fits. The connectors appear to be the same. The line set appears to be the same. I think we're good. So we are gonna send it with the Huracan part here and go get a ratchet wrench to start putting all these bolts on. Well, there is a big difference in the Huracan compressor and the R8 compressors. Even though they're probably the same nowadays, back in the olden days here, this went the other direction, which requires us to flip these hats on the compressor. So that, we just loosened it. I thought it was all the way out. Let's see if this one's all the way out. Luckily it's a big O-ring seal here. That's not that big of a deal.
Nah.
Sweet. I was kind of concerned that we were gonna run into problems switching these. So there's a little wiggle. And of course, we're gonna have to move the O-ring over. That one looks way nicer. 200 miles versus 50,000 miles. After quite a bit of work, this is all in there. Look at that. AC compressor mounted, line set on. So everything's clean, we verified that. And then the one thing you do have to do is loosen that, and that bolts on there to kind of make sure nothing moves. Flywheel is on, not torqued yet. It's torqued to 60 Newton meters. We still have to add 90 degrees to that. So we're coming up with a holding mechanism to do that. We don't have the factory pin that they want you to use, and we don't want to break some other random pin. So we're gonna just go ahead and try to hold the flywheel and put 90 degrees on it. Flywheel bolts tightened. They have to go to 60 Newton meters and 90, like I said. So we had to come up with a way to do that because we don't have the special Audi pin tool that screws into the side of the engine and into the crank somehow. And only when the engine's a TDC and the correct TDC, which is a lot of fun. Here, you can see that they're all marked, torque marked and all that good stuff, because we took that piece of angle iron over there and I held it, it sat on this nut, and then the front of it hooked under that nut, and I held that, and then Josh put our 90 degrees of torque on there because it's massive. So it's all torqued. We can start pulling our trans bell housing bolts back off, nuts back off, and I'll put these back in the bag. That worked out really well. It only took like 10 minutes, something like that. So flywheel's on, clutch can go on. And after the clutch is on and the transmission's on, oil pump can go on. So let's get to it. The oil pump can actually go on whenever you want, but it's a lot easier to put on after the transmission. Using this awesome universal clutch centering kit from the Car Ninja, we were able to knock this out. You can see it's all torque marked and the clutch is back on. Right where the old one was lined up, so luckily we had dirt on the flywheel to see where everything went back together. That worked out perfectly. Now, we could hang a transmission, or we could put an oil pump on, probably do a transmission, and after that, we can put the exhaust on. Then we can start bolting on all the other insanity that's laying around here, because there's a lot that goes back on this engine. And just like that, the transmission is mated, and we are waiting on a torque spec, because it's the one that I didn't get for the bell housing bolts. I'm sure it's not a big deal. You know, it's not like you need an exact torque on a bolt that's that big around. It's a huge bolt. But we're gonna go ahead and pull the cover for the oil pump here. And the oil pump is gonna go on. And we do need to attach that side line before it goes on. That line is, it is that one.
This banjo?
With the crush washer. I think it only has one crush washer.
Go on there?
No, the crush washer side goes on. Starter's on, transmission's on, oil pump's on. Man, that's progress. What can we do now? We had a plan. Alternator, engine mounts. That's probably the next part of the plan. And then the exhaust can go on. And I think the wiring harness will have to go on. We were considering putting the wiring harness on after it was in the car, but these have to go on and the shields have to go on before we can really do any of that.
The exhaust can
Yep.
bolt it down. Yeah.
Exactly. So I guess we're wiring it as soon as the alternator goes on here. Well, this is looking very complete.
The manifold to be a little bit bigger than that. But
Nope, that's definitely the right one. And you're supposed to flip them for the turbos. The turbos bolt up.
that makes sense.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Gotcha.
There's probably another one of those. Who knows? Just kidding. That's a Turbo Cavalier manifold.
Oh, wait, I found the turbo.
You found the turbo. That's a Volkswagen turbo. There's a different manifold down there for that.
This is a Volkswagen, right?
Oh yeah, you're right. Shoot.
I don't know if I'd run that one.
Yeah, I wouldn't run that one either. It's got 200,000 hard miles on it. Alternator is on. New belt coming from O'Reilly's right now. I found a Gates that replaces the Bando. So as you know, my love of Gates belts is infinite, so I can't wait to put that on there. And that will wrap up every bolt right there because we can tension it. Keep right on chugging. Now it's time for the engine mounts. But I might need to put the turbo oil feeds on before the engine mounts. I'm gonna go back, take a look at the pictures, figure out where that's clocked, and we're gonna go ahead and put the turbo oil feeds on. Quick trip to O'Reilly's and alternator belt. It's supposed to fly off there, usually it does. I probably should have checked, but this was the wrong belt. The right one's on its way and it won't be here till tomorrow morning, of course. So, motor mounts on. Turns out I don't have to worry about clearance over there. I went and tried it and it fit perfectly. And we are cranking along. There's nothing left to go on this other than the oiling things for the turbos and the harness before it goes in the engine bay. Maybe it's time for me to start hanging some wires. This is going faster than I expected almost. I'm having fun now. The spaghetti is going in. It's almost all done. Look at that. Slamming the wires onto this thing. It actually goes a lot quicker and it's all a lot more identifiable than I would have expected. But luckily I had labels on almost everything to make it super easy. Things like little extraneous things or the DI pumps and the valve cover, right, like cam position sensor, stuff like that. Much easier with the labels, but honestly most of it just fell right into place. So cranking away, I'd say almost everything's hooked up except for that goes to the intake and that goes to the fender. There's so much stuff that comes out of the engine harness and goes to each side. The ECUs go to each side. This goes in the car, like in the interior. So most of the important stuff, it's already all hooked up. So that is it for today, guys. Happy Cinco de Mayo. I hope you guys had fun. We had fun because this thing's about ready to go in. There's like this much left. Oh, so excited now. Tomorrow, I think we're gonna try to stick it in. That's what we were just talking about. And it's looking like it's ready. And we get to open this. Time to open that box tomorrow. It'll be the first time I've ever seen that. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shopwatchjrgo.com where you can get cool shirts like this. And please, like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I will talk to you next time. Oh yeah, happy birthday to the Car Ninja too, and a huge shout out to him for sending us all the torque specs again. I didn't have that PDF, he sent me the one of everything. So now we've been nailing everything as we put it back together. And yes, it is both of their actual birthdays. I'm not making that up.